Well, we want to welcome you back. And we're going to go to the very first recipe, or the only recipe we'll be using on our show, which is called a Creole brown rice. It calls for 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 1 medium onion chopped, 1 clove of garlic minced, 1 package of mock sausage crumbled, 1 package of frozen peas, 10 ounces, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 can of stewed tomatoes, 15 ounces, 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, and 3 cups of brown rice steamed.
Okay, Creole brown rice.
Creole brown rice.
Sounds interesting. The Creole part now.
That's right, because it kind of gives that little bit of pizzazz.
Wasn't just brown rice.
Yeah, it's got more seasonings in it. You know, it's
Creole, so that's the Creole part.
That's the Creole part.
That's the Creole part.
And the Creole really represents basically the onions and the cayenne pepper that kind of gives a little more pizzazz to the recipe.
It got a little kick to it.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned about the mock sausage. Now,
that's what I'm going to show first, because I want them to see this. This is put out by Light Life Foods. It's called Gimme Lean sausage. It's a mock sausage. It's not the real thing, you know. And we're going to put this in our recipe. Okay.
So now, this Gimme Lean, it would be better lower in saturated fat and cholesterol.
Oh, there's no cholesterol.
No cholesterol.
No cholesterol whatsoever.
Zero cholesterol.
Low in calories. That's right. And it's not a. It's a carb item. Now, what's going to happen is, while we already talking about the, Curtis is getting ready to do the onions, and go ahead and finish chopping that up for me. He's chopping up the onions and also the garlic to go into this. And we have our olive oil already heating here on the stove. And I'm going to go ahead on and get the Gimme Lean sausage ready as well. Now, it does have a different kind of a texture. It's very soft. And sometimes what I tell people to do is to take and put it inside of the freezer if you want to make just sausage patties out of it. In this case, we're going to actually crumble it up. All right?
That Gimme Lean reminds me of Jimmy Dean. I guess maybe that's the kind of...
Absolutely.
I was just wondering about that.
It does. It does remind you of the Jimmy Dean. It's actually supposed to be mimicking the Jimmy Dean type sausage, okay?
Have you had Jimmy Dean?
I did back in the day.
Back in the day?
And all right, I'm going to help you with the garlic.
The back in the day means some time ago?
Am I supposed to answer that? Are we finished with these onions?
Well, I'm
back
just
in the
trying
day means
some time ago.
Exactly what I said back in the day.
Oh, I guess
all right, are we ready?
Told me. Okay, just finished up now.
See, honey, you're so busy trying to say things to me. You're not doing your work. That's what's going on here.
I'm finished.
All right.
Okay.
All right, we got the onions and the garlic in
more
there.
in there. I just threw in there. 2
more pieces of that. And we're going to go ahead and turn this up then and get that going. And what I like to do is get that sauteing a little bit. And once again, because the sausage is very soft, then usually you want to get some kind of like a little bit of oil coating it, because it actually crumbles up a lot better. All right?
So now this needs to be somewhat firm, not all the way soft, in order to slice it?
No, I'm going to actually just mash it up. So since I'm going to mash it up, it doesn't make any difference at all, okay? We're going to go ahead on and put it in there because of the sake of our time factor. Now notice once again, we have the stewed tomatoes that we're going to be putting in. Also, I said partially frozen peas. These are peas that are frozen. Thaw them out just a little bit so they can go in dish as well. And of course, we're talking about the carb. Why don't you make a comment as I'm doing this about why we have the brown rice? When we talk about real good carbs, we're talking about having things like the whole grain foods. Okay?
That's true, yeah. Now again, we're going to be talking about carbs for the next 2 times that we meet. And the next program, we're going to be talking about the good carbs and the bad carbs, what makes a good carb bad, and what makes a bad carb bad as well. So we'll be talking about that. But this is a good carb, a brown rice, as opposed to white rice. So that's why we're using this type of carbohydrate in this food today. And we'll be talking about also, as she's doing that, glucose, why the body needs glucose, why does the body produce sometimes ketones and ketoacidosis, and what does the word net carbs mean by definition? And so we're going to go into all of those things within the next 2 times that we meet.
Now, I like that here. You made some comments. You net carbs and all these.
Yeah, net carbs. That's the term. We're going to define the word net carbs.
Okay.
How do they come up with net carbs? So that's coming up too as well. So when we talk about some biblical principles, and again, it's not so much what you're not eating in this low-carb diet because it's deficient in some of the nutrients, but also what they allow you to eat. And some of those foods are basically just unclean, folks, based on Scripture. Leviticus chapter 11 and Deuteronomy chapter 14, where a lot of these low-carb diets also emphasize persons eating foods that are not clean in those 2 chapters. Your seafoods, your shrimp, lobster, crabs, and your pork, and all those foods are prohibited by Scripture. So it's not really biblically sound as far as the low-carb diet is concerned about what you're not eating and what you do eat.
Well, I know one thing for sure, and that is that the carbohydrate, when we talk about that, and we're going to get into that like you said, but I think when we talk about like the brown rice is that it has more staying power.
Yes.
If you really notice a lot of time when you eat the carb foods, especially your complex carbs, your whole grains, your bread, your brown rice, you have more staying power. You're actually fuller for a longer period of time. So you don't have that time where you're actually cheating.
Right.
Where when you have the refined type, white flour, white rice and whatever, you're hungry.
That's right.
Not too long after that, okay? Well, this is getting going here.
Okay.
And what I usually do is I let this cook down. When I say cook down, you're going to just let the onions are going to saute a little bit, and the meat or this mock meat sausage. And this smells like regular sausage.
It really does. Has a nice smell to it. Now, again, you can get this Gimme Lean at your regular grocery store.
Supermarket.
You don't have to go to a health food store to get this Gimme Lean.
Nope.
Okay.
And if they don't have it at your supermarket,
lobby.
That's right.
Yes.
That's the name of the game.
They'll go ahead and sign up sheet, and they can really get that product in there for you. But most grocery stores we have seen when we travel does have the Gimme Lean sausage in your regular major grocery stores.
And when I do this also, Chris, I like to do chunks. I don't like it to be really very fine, because I want to make sure that you have that texture in your mouth when it's getting, when you're taking it in, okay? And I know that you're probably saying, okay, am I going to see this? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. What's going to happen is this is going to finish sauteing for a few minutes, and we're going to just go ahead and put our lid on top of it, and it's going to saute. And then I'm going to take and add to that the stewed tomatoes, and then the peas. I'm going to put the seasonings in, and then I'm going to stir the rice in, okay? And then you're going to get the opportunity when the show ends to see the finished product. So stay by.